Good morning, Metaverse. I'm Thor with the OCG and Mafia Guild. And today I'm going to talk in a loud voice because we're going over capital ships. This episode was actually inspired by Martian Hotbox, who requested a review on the VZUS Ballad. And I wanted to give a capital ship review and compare for all the capital ships out there. So thank you, Martian Hotbox. I appreciate that. And if you want to see a video on a specific ship, just leave a comment in the comment box below and we'll get to that ASAP. Now we have quite a few today. We have the Busan Maiden Heart, we have the Jod Asteris, we have the C9, the Calico Guardian, and the VZUS Ballad. Each of these are, or several of these are different types of ships, and so we'll go into what makes them special and how we use them into your fleet. And since there's so many, I'm going to have on the timestamp below a couple dividers of jump from one ship to the next. So without further ado, let's get this one started. First one today is going to be your C9. C9 is a pretty neat ship. It's made by the Pearce manufacturer, and so there's some benefits that come with it with some of the other Pearce type ships and the way that they fit together really intelligently. Its origination price was $28,900. Right now it is trading on the market. The lowest one is for $24,249. So a little bit reduced from its origination price, but actually holding its value better than some of the ships. The big idea that you want to focus on with this capital ship is its length is 400 meters. Its width is 168 and its height is 86. This is a big ship. And so we want to look at all the things that can fit into it and the multiple different ways that you can use this. But as it comes, you've got a massive crew.
Captain, 2 pilots, 2 co-pilots, 3 scanners, 8 turrets, drone operators, engineer, repair engineer, hangar foreman, rescue, crew slot, 1 tractor beam operator, and a cargo foreman.
So yeah, you've got a party on board. And then the components, all of the regular items are capital until you get to the 4 of the weapon hardpoints.
Which you have 4 capital hardpoints, you have 4 large hardpoints, and 2 commander-sized hardpoints. So this thing is big old guns. And 1 missile bay, 1 countermeasure capital hull reinforcements. Its modules are a large med bay, a hangar, and a drone port.
Okay, so it has the ability to take on a lot of other ships. There's going to be a lot of effective ways to use drones to automate stuff, and then your med bay for taking in casualties. That's going to be a big part when you're in combat, and this one is a fighter type ship. So with the C9, it's kind of neat. You've got a lot of pictures and a lot of concept art to theory craft, but this one, for example, shows you next to the R8, which I've done a video on a link below. But the R8 is able to do a fast fuel change. So those 2 fuel tanks on the front of the R8 are able to go and do a quick change and fully refuel a C9. It's fit and made specifically for that. So in mid-battle or mid-travel, the quick turnaround on the refueling has some benefits for working with other Pearce type ships. So that's something to keep in mind if you have a C9 and are wondering what type of ship to get. I would imagine there's going to be a lot of synergy within the Pearce manufacturer. It's very intelligently put together. And you'll see that with some of the X5s that are floating around and surrounding it. The X5s compact very conveniently, and I imagine you stacked quite a few of those on the decks in the hangar. And then you have some other ships, which we'll look at these a little bit later, that are floating around and also working with the Pearce C9. But some great pictures for theorizing what it's going to look like, kind of imagining what's going to happen until we start getting those Unreal Engine 5 gameplay environments, and I'm really excited for that. And so let's keep going through some of these pictures, and there's a couple that I wanted to show. I mean, they've got some good detail on the turret guns, and I imagine these are the large hard points. And then either the fuel or ammunition loading drones for it. And then this is the X9. And the X9, we have not seen this released yet, but we get some pictures of it from the C9 ship pictures. So I wonder if this is made to work and be a part of the C9 layout. So we get to see that on several different pictures here and get an idea of its size. And then we also have the O9, which is a rescue boat. So it's got some rescue capabilities on top of that. So that's an interesting addition and makes the C9 seem very versatile in its ability to self-sustain in the rescue operation. When after a major battle, it has multiple different ships that it can work with. It has synergies with the other Pearce models. And then it gives you a couple breakdowns. This kind of looks like it's below the command deck. You get some pictures here of what these areas might look like these coil type things. It almost looks like it's detachable in some way. But these are things that, we keep a close ear to the Foundation Room on the Star Atlas Discord, which I'll put a link to the Discord below. Definitely check that out if you're not on that already. But yeah, like these massive energy coils here, and some of these structures that we've seen on the loading docks. Some massive servers and the X5s fitting in here, be able to compress itself and go into the hangar bay. You can fit quite a few of those in there. So I'll be interested to see some of the more details on what all is able to fit into the C9, because it's made very efficiently for battle. And then yeah, this X9, X9I, X91. This is an interesting looking tank-like ship that I'd like to see why they're putting it in there. I haven't seen a whole lot. I'm actually going to ask some questions about that, get a few more answers. That'd be cool. So I actually looked into that, went on to the Foundation Room in Star Atlas Discord, very helpful place. They explained that these are actually called hull tanks, and they're going to be drones that you can have in any of your drone modules. And it essentially works like a turret, a mobile turret that can move around the outside of your C9's hull. And if there's any blind spots that the C9 turrets can't reach, then you can move those drone hull tanks into position and have more firepower in those different areas. So that was kind of cool. Just wanted to give the update. All right, so that's the Pearce C9. It's definitely a big pick for the active military style gameplay. If you want to go out and dominate areas, to take over, to assault, C9 is going to be a beast of a capital ship. Next, we're going to go and take a look at the VZUS Ballad. So the VZUS Ballad is another capital ship that is definitely one to look at. You have an origination price of $30,000. In the description, it is noted as a pocket carrier with the ability to have several ships on board, but it is a fighter type ship. So it's trading right now, and this is the one that's kind of shocking, for $6,649. So if you want to pick that one up, this one, it's still very expensive, but it is very manageable for a small group of people to be able to pick that up and utilize that. And so that's a pretty big price drop from its origination price, and it's was released in the second galactic ship offering. So that's kind of interesting if you're looking to get into the game. If your group is looking to get into Star Atlas and wants to establish a presence, the VZUS Ballad would be a good option to take a look at. Not financial advice, just looking at the numbers. So then you've got the crew layout, which is actually the exact same as the C9. also a fighter type, so that makes sense. And the components are essentially the same as well.
You've got capital slots throughout, and then you've got 4 capital slot hardpoints, 4 large hardpoints, and 2 commander hardpoints. So there's plenty of firepower on this one, and then it also has a hangar, drone port, and a large med bay, just like the C9.
So they're very comparable, but with the price points, it would make much more sense to pick up a VZUS Ballad than it would a C9 right now, just because the price difference is 24,000 to 6,000. And so if you're playing with Oosters in the Ooster sector, this is definitely one to take a look at. This whole line is a really cool line. I love the envoys as well. Some of these pictures are just beautiful. Some of the major, I would imagine the big commander hard points are the ones that are charging up there with the electricity crackling out. Definitely looks like a bad mofo. And this is one that I'm particularly fond of. Some of the pictures on the interior, big open space, so it's a little bit less of the militaristic feel of the C9. So if that makes a difference to you, then that's something to consider. It looks like these are the hangars, the interior part of the hangars, and they have kind of an open hangar deck on the back. It's open, they land, and then this must come inside quite a bit to stack those ships and to be able to carry a lot of other players with you. And so for a whole guild to be operating around one of these makes a lot of sense. And so this one is 420, so a little bit longer than the C9, with 155 and height 110. So it's a slightly larger ship than the C9, but maybe that will factor into a few more ships that are able to land on it. The capital hangar is the same size, so there's no guarantees on exactly how that lays out, but definitely a big powerhouse in the VZUS manufacturer line. Busan Maiden Heart, which is the 3rd fighter class capital ship. Alright, so the Busan Maiden Heart, origination price 29,300. Right now on the market, we've got one for 29,300 origination price. Okay, so might look at some of the other capital ships for now until that one starts getting picked up. This one, the width is 400 meters, the height is 340, and the length is 189. So its layout is much different, and then your crew slots are different as well. You got
1 captain, 2 pilots, 2 co-pilots, 4 scanners, 6 turret gunners, 3 engineers, 1 repair engineer, 1 tractor beam operator, and a cargo foreman.
So the places that differs is actually
with a few parts. The scanner, so you have an extra scanner crew slot for the Maiden Heart, 2 fewer turret gunners, 1 extra engineer than the C9 and the VZUS Ballad, and then it has no hangar foreman or a rescue crew slot.
So that is a big difference in the way that you would play with the Maiden Heart. Its components layout are
4 capital hardpoints, 4 large hardpoints, no commander hardpoints. So it's a reduction in firepower, but it does have a commander slot in shield generator, so its defense is increased significantly. And then in the modules, it has a drone port, a fuel, capital slot fuel, and then 1 large brig.
So instead of a med bay, it has a brig, and it's got a fuel capital slot for longer distances. So this is more the defensive stance, and you can take prisoners on this. This would be a good one to bounty hunting in the high risk zone, hunting pirates or something like that, where you need to be able to take hits from multiple attacks, but once you overpower the group, you can go out and capture your bounties and still have a very substantial presence in any location that you have. It still has quite a bit of firepower. So that's an interesting gameplay strategy. The way that it's laid out, I mean, doesn't seem like it's a ship that you fly around and try to outmaneuver people. You let them come to you, and you adjust to it. It's almost like a turret in and of itself. And so you got some pretty cool pictures. I have no doubt that it can move, but it's got a much larger hitbox. You know, large capital ships, you're not really thinking of it the same way as a fighter ship. But you got a lot of really nice pictures coming around to get an idea of what that actually looks like, because it is very much foreign to the original traditional concept of a ship, and the inside is very alien, and the pilot, for example, is very alien. That's a face only a mother would love, but I bet it does have a mother. Yeah, some cool interiors. Looks like a energy source, a big metal ball. I'm kind of interested in how that one works. Maybe it's a fusion reactor. I'll be able to maintain all that beautiful nuclear energy inside of that orb. Who knows? Just a thought. The dimensional blueprints and some of the more artistic aspects. The Busan Maiden Heart. I love the Busan manufacturer because the names are a lot more emotionally driven than like a C9 or an R8. The Maiden Heart, the Thrill of Life, all these different Busan manufacturer names are pretty fun. But that's the Busan Maiden Heart. That's the third fighter of the day. And so let's go on and talk about the bomber, which is the Fimbul Bombarella. Bombarella, origination price, 30,000 USDC. Let's see what it's trading for right now. It is trading for $7,999. So, if you've got that, the Bombarella is definitely a bomber style ship that you want to take a look at, right? So it's a bomber. Its length is 400 meters, okay, so standard capital size. Your width is 208 and your height is 130. The crew slots in this one is a little bit different as well. You've got
one captain, two co-pilots, two pilots, four co-pilots, four scanners, four turret gunners, so fewer turret gunners than even the Busan Maiden Heart, two engineers, one repair engineer, one hangar foreman, a rescue, and tractor beam operator.
So it's kind of a couple aspects of the Maiden Heart and or the C9 kind of fits in between there to affect its bomber play, which is a little bit different than a fighter. Your components, your major components that you want to look at here are the hard points, which you only have 4 large hard points. You do have a capital missile bay, but that is a significant reduction in firepower. Its shield generator is a capital slot as well, so it doesn't get the added defense benefit that the Maiden Heart does. But when you go into the modules, it actually has quite a few modules.
So you have ammunition module, you have a fuel module, a hangar, a mess hall, a capital size mess hall, a large mess hall, and one capital bomb bay.
So with the fuel slot and the mess hall, both large fuel slot and large and capital mess hall, that tells me this ship is able to do longer distance travels, to be able to maybe cross the entire high risk zone into a new faction for a bomb run in one shot. That might be something extremely powerful when looking at faction to faction conflicts. Or maybe you can get to and from one zone to the next and then back again, and that makes this Bombarella a threat from a lot of places. So the travel distance is going to be a big part of it. And when you look through this, some of the concept art is a little bit more less technical in some of the details that it shows you, but it does give you a good idea of what it is in comparison to like Fimbul green adder, which looks to be some of the smaller ones, and then the really tiny ones, the Unabomber going around there. So it gives you some good feel. It is beautiful, colorful art, and the interiors, just like the other Fimbul lines, have a very hippie feel to it. Very colorful, and would just be a fun one to ride around on. So it's made as a bomber, but could it act as a transport as well? I think there's a lot of opportunity for that in the Bombarella's layout. And so we take a look at this. Again, a little bit less detail than some of the other ones, but you definitely feel the character that comes out in the Fimbul manufacturer line. And the different decks are pretty straightforward layouts. The mess halls are the middle, big circle in the middle. The bridge up front of the ship, and so it is laid out well. And we have like the hangar bays opening up from the front. You see how those ships can come in and out, and what that would look like. And even there, it's kind of psychedelic. So I think that's kind of cool. You got showers. I mean, think about it. They're going for a long trip. They're going to be comfortable doing it. But yeah, a bomber type gameplay, attacking from distances and looking for weak points, exploits when you see, say, another guild or a general faction has left an area and some of their space stations are exposed. You have a Bombarella to be able to jet in there, do a harassing bomb run, maybe completely take out the target, or at least damage it significantly, and then turn around and get out of there. You don't want to be in a long firefight, but it's able to get in and do damage and get back out and travel longer, farther than its the other defense forces. So that's how I would use it, and I think that's where a lot of the benefit will come from. So next, let's do the Calico Guardian. So the Calico Guardians is a lot of people's favorite, and in regards to its ability to do things, it's considered a multi-role, and so a lot of utility in several different places. It's specifically an exploration vessel, but it has the firepower and the sustainability, the long travel times that you need to be able to play a bunch of different game loops. This is a really cool one. Its origination price was $29,985, and right now, let's see what it's trading for. $38,000 is the lowest one, so it's actually up from its origination price, which is counter to a lot of other ships, which is reflects how much people like this one and how valuable people believe it will be in the Star Atlas game. And so let's figure out why that is. You've got
length 300, width 160, and height 55. So smaller than some of the other capital ships in actual size, but still very sizable. You've got captain, pilot, 2 co-pilots, 3 scanners, 5 turrets, a drone operator, 2 engineers, 1 repair engineer, 1 hangar foreman, a rescue, a tractor beam, and cargo foreman.
So it has a little bit of everything. It has in its components, what we want to look at here is actually going to be that it has capital slots for all the components, and the hard points is you have 5 capital size hard points, whereas several of the other ones have 4 capital and 4 large, or 2 commander and 4 capital. The 5 capital hard points actually gives it a bit of a firepower boost in that fire class, so it definitely can hold its own against any of the other capital ships. But it doesn't have the large hard points or the commander hard points. So it's that versatile, that multi-role. It really does fit in there. I think they've done a real good job with balancing that. I'd be interested to see how they do go and head up with another capital ship. But in the modules, which is kind of neat, it has a theater, and then Whitticus from Metaverse Nomads will bring this up all the time, and it's a really good point. It has a hydroponics, which is unique to this capital ship that none of the other ones have, and will that give the ability to stay in outer space longer without getting resupplied for food? I think that would be really interesting, and as an exploration ship, the long travel and the ability to stay out there could be a massive benefit for collecting data and earning from collecting that data. You have a large drone port and a large hangar slot. So yeah, this one has a little bit of everything and a few unique features that other ones do not. And it looks like these are the drones, the exploration drones that you can fire out from the Calico evac to make the exploration of planets and the data collection a lot faster. So if you're looking at doing data running and exploration part of the game, your group needs to get a Calico Guardian. That is the one that you want to do, and that's going to be huge for the beginning of the game. And you can see the different turrets on it. I think that's actually laid out pretty well. You've got the turrets underneath, turrets on top. There's no blind spots, really, except for maybe the very tip nose. Hide an X4 in there and start shooting the ship. Otherwise, you've got a pretty good defense matrix. You've got just really cool and well detailed art. I think the Calico line is really looks nice, and with the Calico Guardian they actually have a lot of pictures to theorize about, and these cuts into the ship so you can see the interior of it is really interesting. You've got the hydroponics in the middle of your circle there. You've got that engine area. You have an armory. Escape pods are laid out. Your crew quarters, transport, all that is factored in. So I think they've done a good job of planning out where these are, and the detail of the bridge and all those parts that make this capital ship come together. I think they've done a really good job. And the big open canopy, that's going to be really fun to explore and enjoy the detail that you get from Unreal Engine 5 when you're exploring the asteroids and the planets. Going through a nebula, I think there's some really fun gameplay that's going to be out there. And just some blueprint pictures to get a better feel. We'll go on to the last one of the day, which is the Ogrika Asteris. The Ogrika Asteris, or Jod Asteris, I believe is how you pronounce it. I could be totally wrong, but I like to think I'm right. There's 195 of those. It was $25,000 originally, and let's see what it is now. You can pick one up for $8,025. That's a much reduced price. So this one is actually a transport type ship, so very different than all the other capital ships, and we'll see that in both the crew and the layout. You have
some the basic scanners, turrets, three turret gunners, 2 engineers. You do have rescue on this one, cargo foreman, and then a hospitality manager.
Not really sure how that's going to work out, but they have it in there specifically. So, and this one is going to be very much a cruise liner type feel to it. And then in the components, you have
4 capital slots, so it does have the ability to put out some firepower. But there's not nothing else special in the components. And then in the modules, it has a hangar. It's got that theater. It has a med bay and a mess hall.
So it has the ability to take care of its customers and the people on board. It can defend going through the high risk zone to travel from one faction to the other. So yeah, definitely transport and travel in luxury, as we will see through the pictures. The Ogrika makes a very alien-looking, almost creature-like ships, and you see the big amphitheater that you'd be able to go to concerts and orchestral events. Just it's a piece of artwork. It's a beautiful jewelry. If it was a different size, but it's quite large. And then you have falling waterfalls and plant growth, some beautiful layouts, cool walking areas going all around. I'm really interested to see how they make that look with the Unreal Engine 5 aspect of it. To take large groups on cruises while they have those metaverse concerts that people talk about all the time. I think that's exactly what this is built for. Really complicated maze paths going through this whole thing. Definitely not your traditional spaceship. So the transport aspect of it, if you want to try to turn that into productive game loop, I think there's going to be some fun gameplay to have in there. And for the price, the $8,000 price versus the 25 that it started out with, that opens it up to be within the range of at least a smaller group of people, and we'll see what it's like profitability wise. It's not financial advice, but these are things that you need to keep in mind when you're looking at them, and especially if you've set up a guild and want to do a specific type, specialize in a type of gameplay. This one has the ability. I'll be doing a repair and rescue type gameplay, and so I've actually looked at this as potentially a good ship to have, to go out and have a mobile med bay, have the rescue ships be able to bring people back to that type of environment in a high risk zone. So yeah, some cool ideas, cool thoughts. So don't worry about liking or subscribing, but if you enjoyed it and you think someone that would also find it helpful, then go ahead and share it. And if you can do that, then today was a good day.